Uh, tell me a little bit of like how did you about your background and I'm like how did you decide to get involved in the grooming world?
Sure. It was like a cascade, really. Growing up, I always went to well, not I don't know if it was always, but for the longest time, I wanted to work with dogs, and I just didn't see my way into it back then, or how to get into that. And I forgot about it for a while. I did college, I did part of a doctorate program, and whenever during quarantine, I had friends and classmates suggest I started pet sitting. And so I did. I started small out of an apartment and built transitioned into a townhome, transitioned into a home with a huge yard. And thanks to the network I've been developing over the years, I had someone tell me about a local entrepreneur who was selling his mobile grooming business, and that's how I discovered Zoomin Grooming and how I partnered up with a family member to get this rolling. So we've been at this for almost a year now.
Wow, and so what would you say what's been did you before this had you done any grooming or dog training or dog walking at all? Had you been involved with dogs at all?
Yeah, for almost 3 or 4 years, I've been pet sitting, still pet sitting, and as co-owner of Swimming Grooming Alpharetta, I help our team of groomers find their appointments. They're the ones handling the scissors and the pets. I make sure that they have everything they need. That's my role with them. But
Okay.
I do the walking, I do pet sitting, I do a few daycare and boarding, and a few other
Okay.
things.
Are you still doing those things now?
Yeah. Gradually transitioning to focus more on the grooming team, but I still do it. I call it my daytime works.
Okay, okay.
That's still ongoing.
What what would you say is like just since you now you're part of and I've had a chance to talk to all the way from John Hewitt to other franchisee owners. I know my excitement with meeting the team, just it's such a family environment. But what are some of the things that you just like, wow, that you were just, pleasantly surprised, like, wow, this is very cool with being a part of the Zoom and growing family.
A number of things. At first, it was like how young the company is, how fast it's growing. The corporate team has been very helpful as far as educating, uh, and they're really personable and reachable. We've enjoyed uh, the marketing is so it draws us so well. Um, and I really enjoy that. At least here in Georgia, it's still pretty much in its inception. So it feels like a gigantic sandbox that we can build on top of. That's something that I've really wanted for I'd say a real business where I'm not just an employee of the work. Uh,
Right.
and so it was our first time at the conference. So it's nice to see old faces from the training. It was nice to meet people who have been around longer than us. Uh, yeah, we enjoyed an environment where we could bounce ideas over food and get around and keep training, keep getting better.
That's super duper awesome. What do you see the pet industry right now as a whole with grooming? Because I know like now post COVID, a lot of people grooming salons, brick and mortar shut down. Where do
Yeah,
you see the future of like mobile grooming going? Because you guys are bringing it right to a person's home.
sure. And it'll be interesting to see it unfold because it seemed like the quarantine uh cleaned a lot of people out, unfortunately. Uh, but if our corporation is still promoting salons, maybe it'll uh still get some momentum back. But from what we heard, it seems that the salons could be more appropriate for younger dogs, and mobile grooming would be more for the older dogs, people who are well off, people who needed the convenience based on their lifestyle or their work. And if the corporation is promoting a vision of I don't know 3,000 vans or businesses, I might one or the other in about 5 years from now. It's definitely gonna be I would say growing exponentially from right now.
Wow.
Yeah,
let me ask you a personal question because this was a thing I was impressed when I met you. Would you mind sharing your age with the viewers? Because I love meeting entrepreneurs that are getting going. Because sometimes people think, because of my age, I can't start a business or I don't have the financial resources. But can you share your age and just kind of like your like what makes how did you decide just something in your past that said, hey, I want to be an entrepreneur and venture out into this, because it's an investment. So,
Yeah, so right now I'm 30, and what started it was a good 10 years ago. Um, Accidentally, I joined a few entrepreneurship classes in college, just because some professors said that if we got a minor in it, it'll make us look our resume look better. And so the classes, it was like 4 classes. The classes were fun, but I did forget about it for a while. It was more from, uh, I guess, what some of us call long distance mentors or more mentors, people who are teaching online different topics.
okay.
I chanced upon different books that I wanted to learn more, and then I got into the rabbit hole of learning uh, outside of my college courses, and one name leads to another, and then the next name leads you to so many more entrepreneurial names, and you just start learning about as many from as many of them as you can. So little by little, I started layering my interest, building my interest of entrepreneurship. And then by the time I graduated, it became a matter of like, how do I get started and in what? Because at that point, I still had no one around me to learn from. It was just books and videos and audios.
Mm.
I think it was a long way to find my way to where I'm at right now, but it's been worth it.
But I mean, so you said this started when you were 20 years old. So 10 years ago, you
Yeah.
you started grabbing this entrepreneurial spirit, and then how long?
Yeah.
So how long you've had your franchise?
Almost a year, about 8 to 10 months or something like that.
So I mean, that's super motivational. So at like 28, 29, you said, "Hey, I'm gonna pull this trigger and
Yeah,
jump
yeah,
in and start my own business and purchase this franchise."
yeah. And I had help because I needed it because it's been a gigantic learning process. And
What what if
from many points of view, as far as learning credit, getting funding, making money, managing it better, everything has been a waterfall of learning.
what advice would you give to someone that's watching this out there, our viewers that's on the fence about like I want to, whether it's mobile grooming, whether it's dog walking, dog training, ice cream shop, or you're a true testimonial like of the American dream because a lot of times people are like I'm going to do it when I'm 45 or 50 or 60 or I'm going to do it when all these different things line up. That was the thing that I was impressive with meeting you because you were just like super sharp. Talking to you in person was phenomenal. But then what advice would you give to an entrepreneur, especially people? Because a lot of times, generation gets written off. Like because you're in that generation, millennial/Z area, and sometimes people say, "Oh, they're lazy. They just want to live off their parents and things of that nature." But what advice would you give to someone that, like in your age category, that wants that thinking about a business but on the fence?
Sure. I mean, and also, I think every generation has their overachievers and their less than achieving or less driving personalities. Uh, Meaning that all of us have a shot to get ahead at the American
Mm,
dream, as you called it earlier. Um, I would say, uh, and something that even impresses me about multiple generations is like there's people infinitely younger than myself that, at least to my impression, they're incredibly many times smarter than me. Uh, and because I think I've been really slow in this process, I think almost everyone can do it better than the way that I did it, quicker and more efficient. One of the biggest pieces of advice I would suggest is to, whether you have someone around you can ask, or to go on Google or go on YouTube and find out some of the most successful teachers, teachers who are also successful entrepreneurs. There's from them, I hear that there's a lot of people who teach but haven't succeeded, but there's a good number of them who have succeeded and they do teach. And regardless of age, what I say is everyone should get started, because when I was in my undergrad, I was pursuing an entirely different career, and I knew when I made the decision to pursue entrepreneurship that I could either follow someone else's instructions and do a minimum of 4 career years pursuing this thing that I didn't want, and it was probably going to be more than four, and it was going to be dragging, or I could bite the bullet, start from zero, get a lot of resistance and attrition from the people who I was close to at the time.
Mm.
In the same 4 years time, you'll at least be way further ahead pursuing something that you want than something you don't. Um, Whereas if you pursue the path that other people want you to pursue, you're kind of digging yourself into a deeper, harder hole to get out of. So, you know, I've always felt late to whatever I'm pursuing, but it's better to get started in the moment rather than 4, 10 years from now.
You mentioned that you would have spent like 4 years preparing. What were you going to school for?
I
What
was
was
going
your
to
original
school.
plan?
Yeah, I was going to school for information security. So
Wow. Okay.
yeah, so for me it was monumental, just the internship job process, and then to think about all the certifications that require studying, that require money to apply, that require time, money, energy to stay up to speed with, as everything changes every year. So like I either go all in on this thing that I don't want, or I start from less than zero, from a negative, because I'm gonna get resistance
Mm.
from my environment.
And you mentioned that just a few seconds ago. Prior to that, what do you mean by that? Resistance from your environment or people that
Oh,
were not for you.
the people I went to college with, whatever professors I had, whatever family members I have, who were trying to, not, no pun intended, groom me into a path that they wanted me to pursue.
Okay.
And it's like, you know, whenever I succeed at what I propose to myself, they'll either still approve or not. And from what I hear from other people, a lot of the times when someone succeeds after facing resistance, these same members are apparently saying, "I told you you should do it," even though I haven't gotten that to that point
Right.
yet. But that's what I keep hearing from others.
Right. Now, did you ever in your mind think that you would like one day I'm gonna do dog grooming? I mean, because I'm speaking for myself. I was in the music industry. I'd have never thought 24 years ago that I'd be doing dog for 24 years. Like, no way. I thought I'd be some giant music producer, international. But did you think it was somewhere in your heart somewhere that you thought that you might do with dogs and security, or was you just like this is like totally unexpected?
This current path has been unexpected. It's been more of an evolution of where I started, because I did want to get started through dog training, and so I never did I anticipate either being involved with business or being involved with grooming. So since I graduated and decided I wanted to get into entrepreneurship, I definitely was not thinking about training, sitting, grooming, nothing. So it's been a welcome surprise for sure.
That's super. What's some of the things that now, because you're I think it's so phenomenal and neat that you are, and the trucks are beautiful. I love these trucks. That you got this
Yeah.
beautiful truck pulling up to. And I mean, I'm just thinking. I wish I had that when I was in the 80s or 90s when we had these Afghan hounds and German shepherds. Because that was the whole thing: putting the dog in the car, bringing them to the grooming salon, dropping them off, waiting for them to get done, pick them up, put them back in your car. So now what's some of the things, just joy, that you would not have necessarily expected that you like get out of like hearing about testimonials from clients of like what are clients saying about like, wow, this is cool that you guys are coming.
Yeah, but people are complimenting that the service is available as a convenience. People are uh individually complimenting the groomers that took care of their pets by name, about their attention to detail, about their patience, about a number of other things. And something else I would add to what you asked earlier about um, giving advice to any generation is to constantly check oneself about how open minded we are. and how alert we
Mm,
are to the opportunities that are around us. Uh,
mm.
because we could be convinced that we are, but we could always be a little bit different or a little bit better. Um, and if that wasn't the case, I wouldn't have been attentive to when someone suggested that I started pet sitting. I wouldn't have been open minded about trying to take over someone's mobile grooming business. Um, then these are things that are new. Like pet sitting wasn't a thing just a couple of years ago.
No,
Uh,
not at all.
yeah, and neither was a franchise for mobile grooming. It didn't
No,
even exist.
no.
So you could have all these opportunities around you, but if you're not open-minded or attentive, you're just not even gonna notice it.
I love that because that's a good point. Because you just made me think about something. Just in 2000 when I started, it was a guy named Dan Rubenstein. Shout out to Dan Rubenstein if you're watching. But he started doggy daycare, and I remember meeting him. Was like, this is insane. I mean, people are paying you $500 a month for the dog to run around all day from this time to this time, and people were doing it. So that was back in 2000. I mean, but in 98, 97, people we didn't think of doggy daycare. So that's really cool, and just seeing the evolution of the dog industry, like mobile grooming. If you had to look into your crystal ball, where do you see mobile grooming going? Do you see what things you see added to it? Because obviously, I mean, because then people start having some grooming trucks, but not you guys are like the Mercedes of trucks. These trucks are super
Yeah,
beautiful, you know.
yeah.
So what do you see, like some things that if you could have your crystal ball, like, wow, if this like this now, this is where it's going to be like 5 years from now.
Sure. I mean, you might have overheard when we met that we have people developing uh like high quality batteries to replace our power generators. Um,
Right.
I know
Yeah.
that um we'll have better systems to communicate with the dog owners and staying in touch with them. I'm sure of that. Um, Maybe the demand will probably definitely increase. I know something that will be valuable that you may also have heard of when we met. Um, Different resources for calming dogs, whether it's hemp or whatnot.
Mm,
I know the education for I'll call it the groomer's bedside manners over how to communicate with the owners or communicate with their pets should it increase and improve over time just to make everyone's life easier and the work easier.
that'd be super. That's super cool. I could see that. Just which I mean, that's the thing too to think about because you guys are. I mean, I'm so impressed with these franchisee owners such as yourself because you're doing the grooming. So you're managing the dogs, you manage the pet parents, but then you're managing this office on wheels,
Yeah,
this building on wheels because you got to think about stuff and where you park it, the engine, the where I was. My mom was just so explosive when you all were just breaking down, and sharing notes as far as how you maintain these vehicles, so there's multiple different things that are going on with that. But with that said, my question came to my mind when you were talking. I mean, what do you see? How many more of these franchises do you see just doing one and done, or you're gonna increase the empire and get more of these trucks?
for sure. I mean, the owner of the corporation says that we can get to 3,000 in 5 years. I think we can get to more.
Wow.
Myself,
Woo!
yeah, myself, I want to cover Georgia with
Love it.
Van as a start, and then I want to see what else is possible for our team to grow beyond within and beyond Georgia. And that's
Wow.
what I'm looking forward to. And some another passion of mine is um, marketing or otherwise known as getting our name out there. I
Hmm.
find it fun, and I know that a lot of people need it inside and outside of mobile grooming. So better resources and education for marketing. I see that in the future too.
And I love because you mentioned it more than once. And thank everyone that's out there that's watching. Thank you, Bruce, that's watching. Thank you, Heather, with Positive Precious Cargo. Thank you to my mom who's watching the show. Who else is on here? Thank you to Real Howard who's watching the show, and all those. Sometimes it pops up who's watching. Sometimes I can't see. But thank you all for watching our show. I'm here with Kevin Ortega, entrepreneur, and I just love when people start their own businesses, they go out on a limb. Because I know when I went to dog training, people were like, "You're picking up dog poop now? You're a dog walker?" No, I'm dog training. Like I know, like even if I was picking up dog, I know people that are making tons of money picking up dog poop now, but it doesn't matter. But a lot of times you have a lot of naysayers.
Yeah.
And I want to touch on one thing that you said, because you mentioned it more than once, but where you're coming from when you say this, that the founder, president, John Hewitt, who's a phenomenal, I had on my show, phenomenal human being, was part of H&R Block, started Jackson Hewitt, took one accounting firm, turned it into 6,000, then did it again with another accounting firm in Canada. One of the only people in U.S. history that has created the most franchises. I call him he's the granddaddy of franchising, right? Super smart, intelligent, motivational person, but he
Humble
says that
too.
he's going to take right, super cool, humble, and touchable. I mean, I've just in my brief interactions with him, I've learned a lot. But the mission is to go from this 100 to 3,000 in the next 5 years, and the fact that you all have gone from 1 to 100 in 3 years is phenomenal, and it's just something that a pet culture. I mean, that I've not experienced. Like just, and I hate to say this, but a lot of times, like dog professionals aren't always friendly with each other. And I just felt like
No.
this, like family. Like, can you speak upon it? Because you were doing dog walking and other stuff. Am I correct by saying that it's a very family kind of vibe over there?
I definitely pursue creating that around me. I know that from reading books, from reading articles online, from watching different platforms. I know that there's a lot of um, I don't know if strife or conflict in the industry is the right concept for it, because everyone doesn't always jive with their different mindsets and approach towards their towards their concurrent professions. Everyone's growing, but everyone believes that their way is the way. So that's what I've noticed. I try to be mindful of who's around me and make sure I speak to their language. But other than that,
Right.
that's what I've noticed.
And just being friendly. I mean, it's just kind of like, we met down in Virginia Beach and it was instant, like, boom. We like, you're like, hey, we just start having a conversation. I was like, hey, I want to interview you. So I think that there's something to be said, especially, I mean, with any industry, but especially the fact that we're dealing with pets, because it's
Yeah,
like, dogs are pack creatures. They want to be with other dogs. And it's like, I feel like we should learn a lot from dogs in general, being, friendly. And I'm not just saying this on some utopian, like, let's just all
for
get
sure.
along. But that's why we are dog people. I just hate when people say, I I hate people, but I love dogs. It's like, no, it's
Yeah, yeah.
pets. The pet parent. Pets bring us together. It's the one thing that we most of the time do agree upon, that we all love these animals. So
The one thing we can relate on, and what was running through my mind when you said that, is that they're great icebreakers.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, you think about dog parks, pet friendly cafes. I mean, here we are. We met
Yeah,
because
yeah.
dogs dogs have brought me together, and dogs have brought me all around the world. Um, well, I really appreciate you taking time on a Monday out of your schedule. I always also too appreciate, tip for entrepreneurs. If someone who's set up a meeting with you, book it right away. I just have much respect for people just like, hey, let's do it now. Boom. So I
Yeah.
appreciate you for that. I always like to ask people my favorite ending question. It's probably one of the toughest questions you're ever going to have in your entire life. Right on the spot, right here, right now. Um, Here we go. If you were a superhero, who would you be and why?
I love that question. Let me make sure that I cover as many bases as I can. Superhero. If I can remember all the faces that I like.
Oh, he's
She's
thinking
like,
about it.
I love the growth and the brains and the resourcefulness of Iron Man, but I love
Okay,
The character of Captain America. So,
okay.
so
So we're talking about a hybrid. We're talking about a hybrid here.
right. That's where I'm stuck at. Because
Okay,
I
okay.
could say I love the recent goofiness of Thor, but I want to craft an impact, and the way I can do that is either with character or with ingenuity. So
Boom, boom. Hey, we'll settle for that hybrid.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, Kevin, I appreciate you so much. I think everyone that's watching this, we're live on Facebook. I'm going to reshare this to my YouTube channel for you all to watch and digest. Thank you for your contribution to the pet industry. And you're down. And what city are you in? So if people are down there watching.
Alpharetta, Georgia. Georgia.
Alpharetta, Georgia. Boom. Oh, is it already hot there? I know Atlanta gets hot. Is it kicked in yet?
I just bought an extra fan, so it's toasty in here.
It's toasty. Ooh, Atlanta, hot Atlanta, boy. They
Yeah.
do it down there. All right, so
Yeah,
Alpharetta. So if you,
they're not joking.
it's not joking. So if you're watching this and you're in Alpharetta, look for Zoomin Groom. Google them. Google the website and you can find Kevin and his franchise down there. Support beginning entrepreneurs and go out there and start your entrepreneurial dream. There's no better time than right now. Toriano Sanzone, your host. Thank you, Kevin Ortega. Thank you to Zoom and Groom family, and stay tuned for more amazing podcasts. Until then, peace and love.
Great, thank you, and
Thank you,
thank you
sir.
for letting me be a part of this. Someone you just met, and hopefully that it can now and later give some value to your audience
Absolutely. Thank you. Hopefully be seeing you again soon.
soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.